Some motherfuckers, Badur Jobava is a player who is well known to be an aggressive player, and he used to create something new and new openings and new ideas in the openings. And he's one of the, yes, maybe the only actual top player who have a own opening, who is the Jobava London. But in this game, he tries to create something, but the experiment goes so bad, and Liem refutes his idea so well, um, and advance to the next round. So let's see this game between Jobava and Liem. Okay, Jobava open with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4. He takes, knight takes, and okay, this is the Scots opening. And here, black two main moves are knight f6, sorry, knight f6 and bishop c5. But Liem goes with queen f6, which is a completely normal move. And this move transposes to many lines with bishop c5. Many lines with bishop c5 are more or less similar of queen f6. But so queen f6 is a good move, attacking the d4 knight. So now black should decide where he's going to, well, should decide where he's going to move his knight. For example, if he takes on c6, here black have, instead of take the knight directly, have an important intermezzo move with bishop c5, and later take to develop the bishop, and the queen is a little bit bad place on d2. Bishop e3 was another normal option, just defending the knight, and this could transpose to main lines with bishop c5 and knight e7. Later black is going to be make b6, maybe short castle, rook e8, knight c6. Okay, I talked about knight c6. Knight b5 was another option. And now we are going to attack f2. If black take here, if white take here, king d8, and now we are attacking on f2 and we are attacking the knight. So queen e2, and now we defend the pawn with bishop b6. And if knight f3 here, black have this interesting idea of bishop b4, provoking c3, and later coming back to c5. But in this position, Jobava decides to go to f5 with his knight. Could look like a very strange move, because after some d5 or d6, this knight is going to be under attack by this bishop. So knight f5 is a very strange move to go forward, because, okay, it's fine to go forward with the pieces and try to attack, but you have the rest of the pieces undeveloped. So uh, I think that knight f5 is a little bit strange. Of course, Jobava knows this move, and he may prepare or he knows it a little bit. But let's see, in the database there are only 20 games with knight f5. So the rest of the square for the knight to go back, so knight b5, knight b3, knight f3, knight e2, all the rest of the knight moves are more employed than knight f5. But okay, he goes with knight f5. He played in the last year, and he won that game. Okay, Liem made this idea of force c3, and later came to c5. The idea is now the pawn is bad place on c3 because the knight wants to game here. So bishop b4, very good move. c3, bishop c5, bishop b3, and here Liem react in the correct way, playing d6. The last game that Jobava played this position, his opponent played bishop e3, who after knight e3, now the knight is well placed on e3, and I have no problems. He have very good pawn on e4, taking space, and the knight is so well placed behind the pawn on e3. So here I have no problems. But for that reason, Liem plays d6, very interesting move, defending the bishop and not allowing the knight to come to e3. And if you want to take here, the idea of Liem is that now he can take on f5. And the pawn on f5 is going to be weak. That's the principal idea, because, okay, if pawn takes, now the knight can come to e3 with the same position like with bishop e3 here. But the idea of bishop of d6 is that after bishop c5, black can take on f5. Very interesting. He takes, and now d takes c5. And okay, I want to stop here a moment. Now the opening was, yes, that we are in the move 10. And now the pawn structure is a little bit strange, because there are no pawns in the open files, but the the a file was the white have double pawns on the f file and black have double pawns on the c file. But why black is better here? It's just because the f5 pawn is weaker than the c5 pawn. It's going to be more difficult to attack the c5 pawn than the f5 pawn. So Jobava have here the idea of bishop b5, knight e7, short castle, until here everything is normal, and here is where Jobava start to play very strange. Here with white, okay, black is just, okay, is threatening take on f5, rook d8 is coming, But why just should give the 5 pawn and okay, accept that he's a little bit worse, but the black advantage is not so huge because he still having his doubling pawns. So why just should and the knight on e7 is defending this knight, so black is going to have some counterplay for the pawn if he, for example, play with knight d2. Now, or rook d8 or queen f5, and of course, black is slightly better because he have a pawn up, but white is still in the game. But why just should develop the pieces who are undeveloped? Rook d8, queen f3, knight e5, c6. I analyze this line, but okay, black is fine here, of course. But instead of just develop the knight, who is the development in chess is so important. If you are down in develop, you should just develop your pieces and yes, and put your pieces to play. You cannot play with a knight on b1 and a fucking rook on a1. You should just play with your pieces, not only play with only two. Because if you play with two pieces and your opponent play with everything, they're going to lose. Doesn't matter if you take a stupid pawn on b7. 95. And now came the second very, very bad move of Jobava, which take on b7. The problem, okay, you could think, okay, I'm winning a pawn. No, you are not winning a pawn because after rook b8 and c6, now the rook is going to take on b2, and apart he's activating his rook, so you are just trading the b7 pawn for the b2 pawn, but the black rook goes from, yes, go from a8 to b2. It's going to be so active. And your king, so, and your queen is going to be worse. It's going to be from f3, who is normal, place to a6, which is a very, very bad square. So with this stuff, with this couple of moves of queen f3 and queen b7, what white is doing is just improve the black rook and put work his own queen. So that's a stupid move. Yes, I know I cannot say more. Just queen f3 and queen b7 is just stupid. Because here just rook b8, queen e6, and now c6 attacking the bishop. For example, you can go to a4 or to a2, doesn't matter so much now. 95 or rook b2, I don't care here. But he just go to e2, now rook b2, and let's see the difference. Now the rook is so active, and the queen is misplaced on e6. Because now black is going to attack the white queen, and the queen cannot defend it. You still with the knight undeveloped, with the rook undeveloped, with the rook undeveloped. White have all his pieces, black have all his pieces out, except of the rook who is coming early, and white have all his pieces bad place. Everything to what? To play queen f3 and trade the b7 here to play queen f3 and trade the b7 pawn for the b2 pawn. It's stupid what Jobava do. He played this game in a so low level. He played very bad. Okay, for example, if you try to develop the pieces now, 95 is coming, and let's see these two monster knights. He play f4, trying something, but just 97, going back. F4, going back, but now the white king is open. Bishop f3, he just take the pawn, knight a3, taking second pawn, now black have two pawns up, he have better pieces, queen c6, and just knight f6, defending the knight b5, queen b4, attacking knight, the knights go to take a stupid pawn on e7, and now comes knight d4, queen d6, and queen d2, and here white just should resign because black is threatening take on f3, but take on f3 have two threats. The threat of take on of queen d2 later and the threat of queen d6 later. So, for example, if you move, I don't know, you cannot move the bishop. No, it's just knight f3, and with the queen you have no squares to defend f3. So now knight f3 is coming, queen g2. So Jobava resign here. This video is a little bit short, but it's because the game is so short. The game only length like 22 moves. So very bad game of Jobava, who has been eliminated of the World Cup by Liem. So let's see how continues the tournament. There are many interesting games each day. I all the days analyzing games. So let's see the tournament. Bye bye, motherfuckers.